Hello and welcome to today's live demo on master data management between ArcGIS and SAP. My name is Sagar Nair and I am the Senior Solution Engineer for all things spatial at Cybertech and also the Product Manager for the SaaS solution that I'll be demonstrating today. And um, so, I'm super excited to share our experience and point of view on how proper master data management between ArcGIS and SAP vastly improves the consistency and quality of the key utility data assets. So, with today's session, we are going to talk about um, our SaaS-based offering, which is SAP certified and also listed on the ArcGIS marketplace. And this solution is called Spatialytics Unity Engine. So Spatialytics is the product subsidiary of Cybertech and is basically into building SaaS-based solutions. With that, let's dive right into it. Right. So, uh, SAP GIS integration, master data management between both of these enterprise systems is, a hot topic. And within your organizations, I'm sure you've had conversations around SAP and GIS integration. And it is a complex topic, so it definitely deserves the respect and attention. And hopefully, with this demonstration, you'll be able to, gather a lot of these key considerations and also have a look at a solution which is available for you, where you do not have to worry about any maintenance or support because it's a SaaS solution. We take care of everything. But so throughout the demo, I'll show you the integration between these two systems. But before I do that, just want to set a preamble, for our audience. And the preamble is that a lot of you within your organizations which are asset intensive, you would have two enterprise systems. One is ArcGIS, which is basically your system of record, engagement, and insight for geospatial data. That is where you would manage your location information, the geometry of your assets, and so on and so forth. And on the other hand, you have another enterprise system, which is SAP, right? And you could be running SAP ECC or SAP S/4HANA to manage all your assets and business workflows and processes, right? So we are now talking about bringing both of these systems together for efficiency, for meeting your KPIs, whether they are internal, regulatory, for a lot of you who work in asset intensive industries. SLAs and distribution and transmission and so on and so forth are really important. And through this demo, hopefully what I'll be able to show you is how you can bring in efficiency while doing this, and at the same time ensure that the entire organization has access to the most accurate and current business as well as location data. With that, I just wanted to touch upon a few key points here. And the first one is going to be, we are going to talk about Unity Engine. And for Unity Engine, I'm going to first share my screen with you for the administration console that we have to offer, right? So the administration console is basically offered for you, for our customers, to configure the way this synchronization engine is going to run behind the scenes, right? And so while this is a product, there is an interface for administrators within the organization to configure the synchronization. And I'm just going to run through these details, and then we look at a live example of how I would create an asset from the map, and that would automatically create an equipment in SAP. Right? So you have a number of these configuration options. So the first step, of course, is for you to define the connection between the two enterprise systems in question. So you would pass on your ArcGIS REST services layers for the establishing a connection with ArcGIS, and on the other hand, with SAP, you would pass in your SAP application server details to establish the connection with SAP. So this is basically telling Unity Engine which SAP and which ArcGIS instance you need to connect to bring them together, right? And you could be running multiple environments for both of these systems. So you could have a dev, quality, and production. All those instances would be configured under this administration console. Once you've established a connection, the next and the most important thing is the mapping between ArcGIS and SAP, right? So how do we tell Unity Engine what to synchronize, when to synchronize, right? So here we start mapping the fields or attributes between the two systems, so that when you are updating any information from the field or within the SAP interface, Unity Engine picks up that change and then synchronizes that change with either systems, right? So this is for bi-directional synchronization. Right? So you have a list of all of your standard attributes that you would see with SAP. Right? So for equipments and functional locations and notifications, work orders, or even custom SAP business objects that you might have in your environment. So all of those are configured in this area of the Unity Engine administration console. Right? Now, in addition to that, you could have your own custom schema in SAP for these business objects, and those can also be added within Unity Engine. So it's an all-encompassing solution that is tech stack agnostic, which I will touch further upon our demo. And also, you could be running any configuration within SAP, and the platform or the solution would work seamlessly with it. Right? Now that you've established a connection and we've mapped the different fields and configure the synchronization pair. Right? Now, the synchronization pair is basically for each asset that is available in your SAP as well as GIS, ArcGIS system. So, as an example, you can see system valves. You would have water mains, or you could have function locations, meters, hydrants, valves, and so on and so forth. So, depending on the utility that you are, electric, gas, water, you would have different assets spread across geographically, and all of these can be configured as part of this system. Right? And right here is where we provide an option for you to configure the synchronization schedule. Right? So the synchronization schedule could be, you might want to run it real time. Right? So the synchronization is running all the time behind the scenes and keeps looking for changes in either systems based on the mapping that we've defined and based on the business objects that we've configured. So you could schedule it on demand, you could run it real time, or you could run it as a batch job. Right? So here is where we give the option for the users to specify the synchronization schedule for each of your assets that are part of synchronization. You could run it within minutes, on an hourly basis, on a specific day. So this completely depends on how frequently do you want to run the synchronization job, right? And the other example is, or the other area of this administration console are transformations. Very simply put, a value for a field transforms into something else when it is being synchronized between the two systems, right? So for example, let's look at the manufacturer name here. So when entered as AVI in GIS, that would read as American Valve Inc. in SAP. Right? So based on subtypes or domains that you might have in either systems, they would be honored and can be configured as part of this interface. And the last thing before I go to the demo is a detailed view of all of your synchronization jobs to identify if a specific synchronization job was successful. Were there any errors logged? If yes, what do you need to do in order to run that synchronization job successfully, so on and so forth. So detailed sync status. Along with this, you have audit logs. And we look at that example in detail. So let's quickly jump to the demo, and then we'll leave some room for you to ask questions. I have here a sample ArcGIS online web map where I have some point, line, and polygon features, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create an, a water system valve on the map, and it'll ask me for some information. Now notice how the equipment number has been left blank, and that is for a reason. Let's say live demo at Esri UC. So we're going to create this. So equipment number has been left blank. The manufacturer of asset has been left blank, and that's for a reason. We'll just see how and why. Right. So this equipment has been created in this ArcGIS online web map. Now, remember, Unity Engine as a product is technology stack agnostic, both on SAP and Esri side. Now, in this example, I'm using an ArcGIS online web map, but you could be using any ArcGIS based application. Collector for ArcGIS, ArcGIS Field App, Survey 123, a custom ArcGIS JavaScript API based application, and so on and so forth. So it is absolutely tech stack agnostic. And similarly, on the SAP side, you could be running SAP ECC, SAP S4 HANA. This is SAP certified, like I mentioned before. So all permutations and combinations have been tested and as well as verified, right? So with that, now that I've created an equipment here, I'm going to go back to my administration console. Right? And we were working with system valves, and I'm going to turn this synchronization job on. Right? So now, behind the scenes, Unity Engine is looking for that change where I created a new asset in an ArcGIS online web map, which will create a corresponding equipment in SAP. Right? So if I go to my sync status here, we will filter it by date. Right? And as you can see, if you look at the first entry and the timestamp, I'm in the Atlantic time zone, that's why it shows as 7:16 p.m. But it shows it is completed and the success count is 2. So let's look at what happened behind the scenes. If I need to look at more details of this job that I just ran, I can click on View Logs. And here it would tell me what actions were taken behind the scenes by Unity Engine. So the first action was to create an equipment in SAP. And you can see this SAP identifier has been auto-generated from SAP. And that is why I left it blank. So as part of the synchronization or as part of the mapping, what I've defined is that the equipment ID will always be generated from SAP. That is why you see that the ID was generated by SAP here. And I can take this ID, and to verify if it created successfully in SAP. And so for this demo, I'm working with the S4 HANA system, but let's go to the appropriate transaction code and see if that equipment with the equipment ID got created successfully. So we can see here that this is the description that I had put in the map interface, right? And let's do a quick comparison. Right, so we have our map here. And this is the equipment that I created. Right, so the equipment ID ends with 209. You will see all the information that I had entered through the map interface was automatically synchronized based on the rules that I've set in the administration console without any manual intervention. So this was from ArcGIS to SAP. Now, say I want to update something in this interface and then have it get reflected on the ArcGIS side. Right? So I'm going to enter the manufacturer name here and save this. Right? And you can see that we have the equipment with the updated manufacturer name. And let's perform the same step again, which is to go back to the synchronization pair. And in this example, I'm running it on demand. And let's run this job as well. Right? So again, behind the scenes, Unity Engine will look for that change. And after a few seconds, if I go back to my map interface, I should be able to see the manufacturer name come up. Right? And I did mention that this entire topic of SAP GIS integration, master data management is complex. As an organization, we make it a point to kind of have a blueprinting session with your teams, understand your business requirements, and see what business processes need improvement. Where is synchronization actually required? Where is it not required? So I think as an organization, for you guys who are considering integration between these two enterprise systems, it is worth spending the time on understanding what workflows can be improved and how business users get what they need. Right? So with this, let me again check if that information has come through. Right, so I'm just checking if the update that I made recently, whether that has come through or not. But in a few seconds, again, I would expect it to get updated and show us the number here. Right? Right, so I have ABB updated here. And that is how you would, run the synchronization, configure the synchronization. So just a quick recap. You have an administration console which gives you complete access to how you would like to run the synchronization job within the behind the scenes. And remember that this is a SaaS-based offering. You just have to worry about using the software, maintenance, support, availability. All of that is managed by Spatialytics, right? And I did mention, and I'd like to recap. One thing is that this is a SAP certified solution. As you can see on my screen, our solution is listed on the SAP certified solutions directory. And we are also listed on the ArcGIS marketplace. Right? And there is a very intuitive and interactive video for you to see and get more information about the product. And of course, our team is available throughout the Esri user conference and beyond to get into much more detailed technical discussions or any questions that you might have. And this is basically to ensure that we understand your requirements and you understand the nature of this entire exercise. Right? And don't forget to drop into a booth. We are listed as Cybertech Systems and Software. Drop in your business card if you have any questions. Like I said, I'd love to talk more with you and understand and basically just help you out, right? So no strings attached. Let us know if you have any questions and where do you want to start with this and how do you take it to your business users and your executive stakeholders, any questions that you might have. And right after this session is our live demo on, which is again actually interestingly related to what I was talking about, but in the realm of public safety. So Nick from our team is going to talk about data integration in a public safety organization and show how the Unity connector for GeoShield, how that brings in information and makes it much more easier for law enforcement. Right? So with that, we can actually now open the forum for any questions that you might have. And then please feel free to drop in your questions in the chat window, and I can take them. Any questions that you might have. And I did talk about it being tech stack agnostic, and I think this slide is a representation of that. You could be running any um, stack on the ArcGIS side. ArcGIS Enterprise is what we support and encourage customers to use. And you could be running utility networks, geometric networks, or any other specialized data sets. The Unity engine is compatible and tested with all of them. On the SAP side, you could be running SAP ECC, and you could also have SAP S4 HANA with geographical enablement framework, without geographical enablement framework. So, as a product which is SAP certified, and as an Esri Gold partner and an SAP Silver partner, the onus is on us to ensure that the product works with any configuration on both SAP and ArcGIS side. I do see a question from Dave. Is there a possibility to run Unity Engine on premise? Absolutely. We do have customers in some special cases who have requested us to have Unity Engine running on premise, and yes, it is absolutely possible. So let us know what you're looking for, and we can, of course, discuss further on that. Any other questions? And I think if you look at, we have a video on YouTube as well, which shows integration between using Unity Engine. You're using Collector for ArcGIS on the field. And on the SAP side, we have SAP Geographical Enablement Framework. And so basically, Unity Engine also supports configurations with SAP Geo Framework as a solution that complements Geo Framework, right? So for certain use cases, SAP Geo Framework plus Spatialytics Unity Engine work in conjunction to bring that business workflow to light. Right? And an example of that can be, you want to relocate an electric meter within a house, and you take it from one corner of the house to the other. And while you're doing that edit, just like in this particular application, right? If I had to edit any of these features and move them on the map and change the location through Unity Engine, that change in geometry can also be visualized in SAP Geo Framework interface. Right? So it is basically complementary to that solution also. And I think one of the references that I can state is SAP Labs themselves use Unity Engine within their environment. for demonstration purposes. I think that's a great testimonial for us, along with the SAP certification that I've talked about before. So, um, you know, there isn't any other product out there for SAP GIS integration which is SAP certified, and that makes us really unique. Um, Data security, synchronization rules are of utmost importance for us. So that is something that we focus on a lot during implementation, and also gain customers' feedback.
Hi, Sagar. I put a question in the chat. If you could address that, I think you mentioned this, but I just wanted to be sure.
Yes, I did mention that, Vin. So Unity does support and complements SAP Geo Framework, and both of them can work in concert. So that's absolutely correct.
Okay, and I know through the course you talk about systems of record. So essentially this becomes a solution for the kind of the holistic solution of record to include the various enterprise, the critical enterprise systems.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. With that, I think I'm going to go ahead and close the session. I've stopped sharing. Thank you for your time again, and have a great rest of the user conference. Thank you, everybody.